We are checking out the all-new 2023 Fuel EX8. In this quick walkthrough, we're going to check out all the power specs and obviously point out the big changes from the previous years. As you may have seen, many things have changed with the Fuel EXs. This is the biggest change we've seen in a while, with a whole new frame shape, whole new design, and more travel than ever before. We'll start by going over some of the biggest changes. Up front, you now have a 150mm fork. This is a Fox 36, so this is going to be a nice high performance fork, honestly. A lot bigger and burlier than most trail bikes really need, but overall you'll be able to take on a lot more terrain than ever before with the Fuel EX. Right on top, attached to that in some ways, is an adjustable stem angle device. I forget exactly what they call it. Essentially, you're able to actually put in a whole new cone and adjust it so it becomes even slacker. So if you are really kind of pushing this to its enduro max or trying to turn this into a 29-inch remedy, then you will be able to do that very easily. That attachment is separate. You do have to buy a piece to change the head angle on that fork, but at least it's something you can do as opposed to something you can't. As we swing to the back end now, it has the Fox Flow X series. So this one has that extra chamber to it. It's gonna have a lot more travel to it, 145 or 140 mil, sorry. It's gonna perform really well. Obviously, with this whole new frame design, it's a little slacker than it once was. It's a little longer than it once was. And most importantly, it's even more adjustable. At the lower of the shock, you can now actually adjust the shock back a little bit. So you're able to really adjust the frame again with the addition of the minnow link, which has already been there in the Fuels. This setup is going to allow you to be able to put one, a spring in it, which is pretty intense, and two, really adjust the overall geometry, especially when you add in the addition of that front headset changer. As you can see, the whole frame has changed quite drastically. You now have the shock up on a pedestal, no full floater there. It goes straight up to the triangle up at the front here. It goes straight up to another split, another miniature triangle, and then the main triangle. So lots is going on. The main reason for this little split here allows you to fit in the fork you want. The main reason for this split up at the top here is to fit in the shock you want, but this also now has a bigger seat tube diameter of 34, so they're able to fit a longer, straighter tube, allowing a deeper insertion for longer, larger dropper posts, and now with higher performance out of them being a larger diameter. Lots of big words there. Not really larger words, but everything about bigger. This bike really is bigger is better. As we continue with the frame changes, we can see they have a logo on top there, which looks nice and clean, just says Fuel EX, and they've really downsized the Trek logo to be something a little more small and low profile. They have a down tube protection starting at the very top there, and it rolls all the way underneath. As well included now is a Bontrager side load bottle cage and the internal storage compartment. The internal storage we have seen on previous models before, but this is the first Fuel EX in an aluminum model to retrieve it. As you see, quite a lot of parts and stuff there with the minnow link. Then it goes back to the back end where we are greeted with a mixture of components. All right, as we look at the back end here, we have an Dior XT derailleur, and then it goes to Dior chain cassette, SLX front chain ring, which is a nice touch. And then they have improved from last year and put on the SLX levers on the top. This allows more adjustment to them, so you're actually able to adjust that little bolt there to control the reach and just make it a little more custom fit to yourself. Big improvement from the previous year Fuel EX8. Obviously, when we look at the brakes, they are a 4-piston front and rear, so you gotta get lots of stopping power out of those SLX brakes. Decent sized rotors at 180 on the back and 200 on the front. And as with most Trek bikes, we have a Bontrager tire, XR5 team issue. So this is a good treaded tire, overall high performance, tubeless ready. And although they don't have a front and rear specific, what they do is mount the front one direction and the rear one in the opposite direction to allow you to get a different traction profile out of it. So one's going to be a little faster rolling and the other will perform a little bit more traction. But otherwise it's the same tire, tubeless ready. Rim wise, we are looking at the Line Comp 30. Overall, it's going to be a nice performing bike. This is definitely the most downhill or enduro ready bike that Trek has made out of the Fuel EX. It'll be definitely interesting to see how it rides on the trails. Reviews are in and most people are liking it. Obviously, the way trails are being built nowadays, they're a little less cross-country and a little more down-country or downhill overall. And this just suits that. And now with a bike like this, you're going to have fast performance rolling, happy with that. And then downhill-wise, you're going to feel a lot more confident. And you're going to be able to handle pretty much all the downhills and rough terrain stuff a lot more easily, confidently, and overall just enjoy the experience more as opposed to previous versions, we're talking 5-6 years back, where it might have been a little trickier because they were counting on flat ground speed to be a little bit faster. Bontrager Line 35 handlebars and Bontrager grips. Everything attached to it is essentially Bontrager. The Arvada saddle, that's a go-to staple in Trek's kind of book now. This is the Galactic Gray to Black Fade. It's a very low-key. The online kind of color scheme makes it look a little more noticeable. But as you can see, it doesn't fade to black until the very bottom, and it's a little darker of a gray than the online pictures makes it look. We have a very bright white shining down from the top, and you can see how bright it can be, but it's essentially the same color below it, and it doesn't change much. The Fuel EX is definitely still the same bike it once was. I think the people who are looking at it now are going to be looking to either shred more downhill because that's how trails are being built now, and or accepting that they might be slower in some sections than a top fuel might be in that downcountry flat climbs. But overall, they're going to be 10 times more confident and capable in the trickier, more downhill or just aggressive bumpy sections. You'll be comfier, you'll enjoy it more, and although you might not win that cross-country style race, it's not that big of a deal. Trek is still putting a shield on the front of the bikes, even though they denounced it as part of their brand like 4 years ago, which is still an interesting choice. Cables-wise, this looks clean. Paint-wise, it looks clean. Frame-wise, looks pretty clean. Obviously, that back end has a lot of things going on, but this bike looks good overall. You cannot complain on its looks. 29s, long, low, slack. This is as trail bike as it gets, but also as downhill as it gets. You can really ride this thing anywhere. If you're looking for something faster, definitely check out the Top Fuel, which is now obviously going to be something significantly faster rolling, but still enjoyable. Another example from different brands would be the Hightower from Santa Cruz, which would be in that 150, 140 mil category, which seemingly is the new trail bike kind of go-to. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped, and I hope you guys are enjoying this new kind of quicker format. Comment below if you have any questions or you want to see a select bike. Thanks. Good luck.